Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Um, as we get settled to begin, I'm just gonna put out like a welcome poll. You can fill it out. It's gonna stay open throughout the entire webinar, so you can fill it out as you go. Just a little bit about you and the organization you're from. So if you have a hard time finding it, it should be on the little bar at the bottom called polls/quizzes. It's just like a little welcome webinar. Welcome poll. Thanks. We'll just wait a few minutes here before we get started. So if you can fill out that poll, that'd be awesome. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Yep, as you're just slowly coming in, there's a welcome poll in like the polls and quizzes tab. Go ahead and fill that out. We'll get started very shortly here. Good morning. Okay, I'm gonna kick us off. Um, Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Evie. I'm the Access to Justice Fellow here with Lift Wisconsin. I'm a recent grad from UW-Madison. I got a bachelor's in political science. I am from Chicago-ish. If you're from Chicago proper, I'm not. But if you're from everywhere else, I kind of am. And in the fall, I will be attending UW Law, so I'll still be in Madison for a couple more years. So yeah, I'm really excited to host everybody today. I've spent the last couple of months with Lyft, and I've really enjoyed my time here. So I'm just really excited to share just this tool and like this team with everybody. So yeah, thanks for everyone who's here today. Before we dive in, I just want to quickly walk through our agenda, what we have planned, so everyone knows what to expect. So first, we'll start with some introductions. I'll introduce our amazing team. We have folks from such a diverse background, a strong commitment to justice. So I'm really excited for you guys to meet all them. After that, we will discuss the access to justice crisis, what it is, why it matters, and the challenges faced by many communities in the state of Wisconsin when trying to navigate these legal issues. After that, we'll share a little bit more about Lyft, what Lyft does in addressing these crises, including the key functions that we serve in the community and how we support people facing legal barriers. We'll then focus on the role of legal navigators, which is a critical part of our work to make legal support a little bit more accessible and manageable to everyone. And then following that, we'll discuss our partnerships, how we collaborate with other organizations, and how you guys, as attendees, can get involved and make an impact. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a quick Q&A session. So there is a Q&A tab at the bottom of everyone's screen. So you can just put whatever questions you guys have in there, and then we'll address those at the end. So yeah, that's just a quick roadmap of what we're going to be doing today. I can kick us off with some introductions. First, you guys will be hearing from our executive director, Erica Nelson. She is also a fellow Badger. She has had more than 20 years of experience with advancing social, racial, environmental, and economic justice. She is a former New York City attorney, and she's deeply committed to increasing access to justice for our under-resourced communities. Um, After Erica, you'll hear from Alberto Prado. He is our outreach coordinator. He's also a fellow Badger, but he's now It's based in Milwaukee. He coordinates our regional pop-up clinics, focused on restoring driver's licenses. He's also really fluent in Spanish, so that's good when it comes to ensuring accessibility for our diverse communities. And then finally, you guys will hear from Jessie Luter Long. She is our justice coordinator. She is not a Badger, unfortunately, but she is a Wisconsin licensed attorney focused on removing legal barriers to employment. She's got a lot of experience. She's worked with Legal Action of Wisconsin and the Center for Driver's License Recovery Employability. So, yeah, that's our awesome team. I'm just gonna pass it on to Erica. She's gonna be talking about the access to justice crisis. I'm also gonna open up a poll for to see what everyone thinks is the biggest gap to access to justice. So you guys can answer that one.
Okay, great. Thank you, Evie, for that wonderful introduction. Just so you knew, Evie, there's someone in the Q&A section who's trying to help someone get in. So if you can also manage that, that would be awesome. So Jesse, can you move us through the slides? Jesse's gonna we thought it would be easier if we do one person instead of all of us sharing different parts to make it somewhat more seamless, but everybody knows how these webinars go. Okay, well, I'm really excited to be here this morning or this afternoon with all of you to have this opportunity to talk about Lift Wisconsin. And my role is just to sort of set the stage to talk about access to justice, an overview of civil legal aid and the justice gap. I want folks to think about it sort of the way I'm thinking about it lately is in terms of three big areas, access to justice in terms of resources, in terms of geography, and in terms of thinking about trust. So just keep that in the back of your mind as we go through things today. Just probably everybody already knows this on this webinar, but I'm just going to go over it. There are a few cases or circumstances in which an individual is entitled to legal representation, and most of them are related to criminal charges or circumstances in which a person could end up jailed or incarcerated. This leaves a vast majority of legal related proceedings and interactions within the civil legal system, of which there is no right to representation. So civil legal system issues include a vast array of issues that require expertise, have different laws, have different sort of overwhelming and often intimidating processes to follow. So that includes driver's license suspensions, family law issues like custody, child placement, child support, consumer debt, evictions and criminal records. There's power of attorney issues. There's employment issues. It's a whole big sphere of legal issues. And for many folks, initially they may not recognize one of these things I just discussed as actually a legal issue. And if they do recognize that there's a legal issue, they don't necessarily have the resources or the knowledge to address that issue on their own within the civil legal system. The civil legal system was made for attorneys and by attorneys and filled with a vast, just tons of legalese and Latin words that everyday people don't know how to discern or understand. So for many low-income people in particular in the state of Wisconsin and across the United States, if you've recognized you have a civil legal issue that is posing a barrier to economic stability or opportunity, you then need to figure out how to access an attorney and afford one. And for many, many people, they can do neither. They can neither get access to an attorney nor afford one. And in Wisconsin, 750,000 Wisconsinites face a civil legal issue annually, and over 500,000 will not resolve it on their own for reasons that I just stated for those hurdles. So next slide. This is the access to justice gap. That's the distance between the need for legal support and the resources available to meet that need. In Wisconsin and across the country, this is a crisis. Low-income Americans, 92% actually of low-income Americans did not receive any or enough legal help for their civil legal problems. That's according to LSC's Justice Gap report. Uh, Quote, they are forced to go it alone without legal representation in disputes where they risk losing their job, their livelihood, their home, or their children. So unresolved legal issues negatively impact people's lives, individuals, families, and consequently ripple out to communities. It can have an impact on employment, on housing, and overall economic stability. For a quick example, if you have lost your driver's license and it's been suspended for a failure to pay a fine or fee, you will then not be able to get to your place of employment, not have employment to then get um, uh, to secure housing. So it becomes a revolving door and a cycle of poverty that many cannot get out of. The access to justice gap isn't just a gap about resources. That's fine, Jesse, that you're right on point. It's also an issue that's can have geographic implications. So in the state of Wisconsin, we have a rural justice gap. And this is the term is legal deserts, kind of like it's, food deserts, and now we have legal deserts. And the definition is in a county that has one lawyer per 1,000 people are considered being in legal deserts. Um, Wisconsin has an unusually high percentage of counties that qualify as legal deserts, and we are ranked at the bottom of the rankings as having sort of number 5 to the worst, essentially. And 86% of those rural households receive no or inadequate help. So next slide. So there are resources, quick thing on geography, and now we have a conversation about trust in the legal system. For a variety of reasons, many folks do not trust the legal system. One, they can't get access to it. Two, they can't afford it oftentimes, and it's hard to understand, and it becomes overwhelming and intimidating. But also, this is a quick statistic on a quick group of numbers. 39%, only 39% of low-income folks believe that people like them can use the system to protect and enforce their rights. Only 40% believe that the system can help low-income folks solve important problems. And only 28% of low-income Americans believe that people like them are treated fairly in the US legal system, civil legal system. So that's a huge gap in trust that we all collectively need to work to bridge so that more people can feel like they can have access and they can get what they need from the system and resolve their issues. So next slide. What we know is that investing in civil legal aid is very important and is a return on investment. According to the Wisconsin Trust Account Foundation, their 2023 report, every $1 invested in Wisconsin civil legal aid returns $8.40 to the economy. A family that's struggling because they are low income and they're facing civil economic barriers, that has a ripple circumstance to their other family members as well as the community, which is a drag on the economy as a whole. What we also know is one of the things is that the state of Wisconsin is one of only 14 states that does not allocate funding for civil legal aid in its state budget. That has an impact, and we are seeing that in the numbers that I just shared with you with respect to rural legal deserts, trust in the system, etc. Investing in civil legal aid is one of the key components to bridging the gap as well. So now I'm going to talk about some common legal problems in Wisconsin. This is really just about a little deeper dive into some of the areas that Lyft works on through its legal tune-up tool, which Jesse will discuss momentarily, but really about the common legal problems and the collateral consequences of these common legal problems. So we'll begin with evictions. According to the Eviction Lab, last year, 24,000 evictions were filed in Wisconsin, and over 11,000 were filed in Milwaukee alone. Having an eviction on your record when you're applying for a new apartment or a new house puts you in a high risk category. And what we know is that having housing is really important to meeting and everyday stressors and becoming employed and become taking advantage of other opportunities and improving family well-being. The evictions don't evictions well, sorry, the research shows that disparities exist in evictions and eviction filings. Black renters face a higher eviction rate than any other racial or ethnic group. If you have if you're in a house with young children, you are more likely to face an eviction, and women disproportionately disproportionately share eviction filings and judgments. So this is an important area of civil legal, important civil legal area that we need to give more people access to an attorney or support or help. So the next area that we are talk about is criminal records. Criminal records and having a criminal record can be a great impediment to a number of different things to make you into a thriving person who feels like they have opportunity and some agency over their sets of circumstances. 66% of colleges look at criminal records. 87% of employers look at criminal records, and 80% of landlords look at criminal records. So 1 in 4 Wisconsinites actually has a criminal record. So has a huge impact for our state and our economy and our community's well-being. And in the state of Wisconsin, we have one of the highest incarceration rates for African American men in the country. And that means that they're disproportionately going to be faced with criminal records that impede their ability to take advantage of other opportunities. So another one that we talk about a lot and we work really hard on, and Jesse is our resident expert, is on driver's licenses. In 2023, the DOT reported that over 300,000 Wisconsinites had their driver's license suspended or revoked, and that was primarily for failure to pay. So it wasn't related to bad driving. These are unrelated to safety issues, which I think is really important to note. This is circumstances where people are losing their driver's license because they cannot afford to pay a ticket or a fine or a fee. And that has consequences in terms of getting to work, driving your kids to school, and doing everyday errands that many of us take for granted. Not to mention, if you get pulled over, those fines and fees compound, and it's really hard to dig yourself out of it. And so this one is an issue that many people don't think is actually a legal issue, that over time compounds and becomes a really significant legal issue that is impacting other aspects of their life. Okay, another common civil legal issue that we work with is child support. If someone is in arrears in child support, they have an order that is not in line with their actual income or their set of circumstances, and the order was assuming or imputing income on them, and they fall behind, that has consequences that range from tax interception to a suspension of your driver's license, hence the revolving door. You now don't have a driver's license, you can't get employed, then you can't pay your child support. And in the state of Wisconsin, if you are in arrears in child support, you are not eligible for student aid to seek higher education. And research shows that if your child support order is in line with your income, you are more likely to pay. That means that the children and the custodial parent will get money more regularly, and it reduces stress and anxiety and tension with the system itself and with the family. So child support is another really important civil legal issue, and Alberta will talk about how we do some work around that later. So next slide. Consumer debt. Consumer debt is an issue that many folks in the state of Wisconsin face. That comes in the form of car loans, personal loans, credit card debt, medical debt. Um, and if you have defaulted on a small claims case and consumer debt, the consequences of that can be garnishment of wages, taking tax refunds uh, taken. So this is another really important issue for Wisconsinites and their economic health and justice. 52%, as the slide says, live paycheck to paycheck. So it is no surprise that people end up in consumer debt and do not know how to access the right information or resources to solve that problem. Okay. So, where does Lyft come in? Legal interventions for transforming Wisconsin. We are approaching and trying to do our part to mitigate the harm from lack of access to justice through an innovative, multi-pronged, and low-cost approach. Um, we're going to talk about how Lyft does that in the next few minutes. And I just want to give a little background on Lyft. It began in 2020. Jesse will talk about the legal tune-up tool. It was the brainchild of a lot of attorneys and amazing founders and people here in the state of Wisconsin who recognized that we needed to approach and attack this challenge in a different way. And so it didn't just mean more lawyers and lawyers doing the same thing, but expanding who is participating in bridging the access to justice and how to use technology to be part of the solution. So it's innovative technology, justice technology that we'll share with you through the legal tune-up tool momentarily. And it's unique. It's the only one in the country that takes publicly available data and aggregates it under one umbrella. So people can individually, easily, through a step-by-step accessible process, uh, address their common legal issues. And so next slide. So Lyft's mission and model, we want to elevate people and expand justice. And this is really a commitment to improving access to justice for everyone. We want to increase personal agency. That's through the legal tune-up tool and our clinics and information and resources so that people feel empowered to address these issues. Because we're not going to solve this problem again by, there's just not enough attorneys out there to meet the need. And many people actually get turned away even if they qualify for legal action or legal aid because there's not enough capacity. So we want to increase personal agency and we want to take the publicly available data that is being used against individuals and turn that on its head and give some of that data and put it back in the hands of the individual themselves so they know about it and they can work with it to increase their own opportunity. So information and the partnerships that we're forming that the folks will talk about should have an impact on our access to justice, bridging the access to justice gap in Wisconsin. And with that, I am gonna pass it on to Jesse to talk about our legal tune-up tool, which is our innovative approach to bridging this gap. Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you. So the legal tune-up tool is a justice-based piece of technology that's built not only to assist pro se self-represented litigants in navigating our really complicated legal systems, but also to educate them on these civil legal issues. Like Erica said, a lot of people don't realize that some of these are legal issues to begin with. Even more of these people don't know how to navigate these systems because, like Erica said, these are systems that are built by attorneys for attorneys, and there just are not enough free legal health services out there. So we built the legal tool to help address this problem. How it works is it's a website. It's not an app. So it's available on any computer, any phone, your tablet, your iPad, whatever has internet, you can access the legal tool without downloading anything. And it takes the basic information that the user enters and runs it through several Wisconsin state databases like CCAP, the Department of Transportation, DOJ, CSAUS, our Child Support Agency service. And it screens for a variety of legal issues that are both actionable and relatively easy to address without paying for an attorney. So this is all public information. It's all public data that we are then giving to people in an easy to understand approach. So for background checks, which we're including both eviction and criminal records, the legal tune-up tool can provide a list of these records, and not only just a list of these records, but the ones that are eligible for removal from CCAP. So if someone's not familiar with CCAP, CCAP is our state database that holds all of our court information. So long as it's not a juvenile case, it's probably on CCAP. And in Wisconsin, if someone has a record that's been dismissed, it's still going to show up on CCAP, but you're eligible to get it removed from CCAP. So the legal tune-up tool screens for cases that are eligible to be removed, and it helps the user fill out this court form, this GF184A. Again, that form is available for anybody to find, but navigating the court website to find it, knowing how to fill it out, and knowing how to submit it to the court is a pretty big barrier for folks. So the legal tune-up tool will help fill it out. We'll auto-populate as much of the form as we can, and then the legal tune-up tool will actually submit it to the appropriate court for the user. If something is not currently eligible, the legal tune-up tool will flag it and let the user know that it's not eligible yet, but if they come back in a set amount of time, a form can be filled out and they can be removed at that time. For driver's licenses, this is my bread and butter, my passion project here. If somebody has a driver's license suspension or revocation, the legal tune-up tool will let them know what type of suspension they have and a variety of different ways that that suspension or that revocation might be resolved, along with some sample motions that the user can use to submit to the appropriate civil or municipal court, like motions to reopen, requests for payment plans, community service, along with the statutes that are relevant. A lot of people don't know that they are entitled to a payment plan if they're suspended for a ticket, and you are entitled to ask for a payment plan, and having that information, knowing what your rights are and knowing the correct statutes or language that the court is looking for is really important. So the legal tune-up tool provides that information. And in certain situations, Lyft Wisconsin can actually pay that $60 reinstatement fee to get the person reinstated through the DMV. Our child support module is a little bit different. The user for the child support module does need to give the child support agency permission to share details about their orders to the legal tune-up tool. So once they give CSAUS permission to share their information, the legal tune-up tool will then show the orders and provide a child support calculator where the user can adjust any information that's changed since the order was initially made. And then the calculator will also provide an estimate on what your child support order could be. It's just a suggestion, like if your job changed, if your partner's job changed, if your placement changed, you might be eligible for a lower amount. So it's intended for the non-custodial parent who is paying child support, and it's if the person is interested in requesting a change to their order, the legal tune-up tool will walk them through the appropriate court forms, fill out as much of it as they can, and then give really detailed instructions on how to file those forms with the court, with the other party, and with the child support agency. And our last module, our newest module, is the consumer debt module. It does have three main functions. So the first function is sending letters to debt collectors who are currently harassing the user. It's a pretty standard form. We'll send it out, just put as much information in as possible, and we can send it for the user. The second part is, I think, the most impressive part. It actually will file answers to small claims cases. So in the state of Wisconsin, we have 72 counties, and we have a very busy small claims court system. 60% of all small claims cases that are not evictions do result in default judgments. And for those of you who may not know what that term means, it just means that the court is entering a judgment based exclusively on what the person filing says. This happens when the defendant, in this case, the user of the legal tune-up tool, doesn't show up to court. They don't answer their small claims case. This happens for a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons that I see the most is people just aren't aware They're not aware of the fact that they're getting sued, and they don't know how to respond or how to deal with the problem. So the legal tune-up tool, this module is created to help mitigate that problem, to try to reduce that 60% default rate, just by making it easier, easier to respond. We just wanted it to be accessible. We wanted to help people navigate these really complicated local rules and these complicated forms. So with that brief introduction of what the tool can do, we're going to walk through it. I do have a QR code on the screen. If you have your phone available and you want to walk through your issues, you're free to do that. I'm going to walk through a fictional person, so we're not, sharing anybody's personal information. So hold that thought here. We're going to go to the Legal Tune-Up Tool page. Does everybody see this? Great. So this is, again, a fake version of the website, so that we're not showing confidential information. Everything that you're going to see is not anybody's information. The tool, though, does have it does everything in English and Spanish, and we're going to sign in. So there are two different ways to go forward. You can either hit the start button if you just want to do a new profile. If you have a lot more complicated issues and you have a lot of things going on, you might want to sign in. So that's what we're going to do for this. This fake person is .dates, and we are going to see this dashboard for her. So this is the main dashboard that you'll have if you are running through a friend or yourself, or someone. If someone's running through the Legal Tune-Up tool, this is what they're going to see. You can jump to whatever section you're specifically interested in. For Dot here, because she has used the Legal Tune-Up tool before, we know that she doesn't currently have any evictions that are eligible for removal, but she does have 6 criminal records that are eligible for removal. And Dot has already submitted those court forms to the court. She also is in progress of requesting a criminal background check, the arrest record for Dot. So that's in progress. If we keep moving down, we can see that she does have a suspended driver's license for failure to pay. She can learn more about these suspensions here and how she wants to go forward with the suspension. But we do flag for her that because she has multiple suspensions, we recommend that she might want to talk to an attorney because it might be a little complicated. If Dot is interested, we do have clinics that she can sign up for to get personalized help. Otherwise, I do also walk people through more complicated driver's license problems if they do have one. So she has a complicated driver's license problem. We flag that for her. I want to go through a little more in depth the small claims case here. So if she wanted to stop debt collection harassment, she would go here. But we're going to look into the debt collection cases that she has. So first off, because we do really care about education, we want people to know that they have rights, and we want people to know, what kind of key language that they're going to hear in the court, that they're going to hear from the creditor, and that they should be able to feel comfortable using when they're in court. So we let people know these are the cases that are filed against you. If you don't do anything, a default judgment will be entered against you because that's not in normal people's vocabulary. We do let them know what a default judgment is. And we ask Dot where she wants to get started. So if we click on this first case, again, we do have 72 counties, and each one of those counties has their own local rules and their own special way that they want people to respond. So inside of the Legal Tune-Up tool, we have built several different prongs that will respond differently depending on which county the case is filed in and when the court date is. So for Dot here, if she's going to file an answer for this case here, we ask her how she wants to respond. If she doesn't dispute the debt and she just wants to say, yes, this is my debt, you can go ahead and file a judgment. She can hit that. If she wants more information, if she's disputing something, she can hit this one here. We do have a tune-up tip and just another little pop-up of what a hearing is, reminding people, you have a certain amount of time in front of a commissioner. This is what you should expect. Keep your answers short, things like that. We have some common responses for answering your small claims case. She can hit any or none of these cases. And then we give people space to fill in their own answer if this is not. There are so many different reasons that you would dispute debt in court. So we wanted to give people plenty of space to, personalize their answer. We then give Dot a chance to verify her address. This is the address that CCAP has for Dot. If she has moved, she should change her address. She should change her information so that all of her court forms get sent to the right place. But assuming that this is correct, she'll hit yes, and then we'll take a look at the form. So the legal tune-up tool populates all of this information for the user. We fill in the county, we fill in the court case number, we fill in the plaintiff's information, we fill out her information, and then this is where her answer is. So depending on what she typed in or what boxes she selected, that'll change what the answer is. She'll keep going. We're not doing a counterclaim, and her signature. So long as all of this looks good, Dot can say looks good. She can then electronically sign, and then depending on when her court date is, when she hits submit, we will either send it in for her if she wants us to, or we'll give her detailed instructions on how to file it. Because we submit all of the court answers by snail mail, if your court date is tomorrow and you're filling this out, we cannot promise that it will get there in time. So if the court date is too soon, or if the response is required in a time, I think it's like 10 business days that we have our internal logic tree. So if the court date is within 10 business days, we will give Dot instructions on how to take care of it herself. If it's more than 10 business days out, we'll give the option of filing it for her. In this case, her court date is too soon. We cannot promise that it'll get there in time. So we'll give her instructions. We'll give her the form so she can download it, save it for herself, print it, and then how to mail or hand deliver it, and then the address of the third party that she'll need to do. Lastly, we have this several times throughout the consumer debt module, the option to sign up for text reminders. It is 2025, and that is not something that happens through our court system, which is wild to me. So we will send Dot text reminders if she opts into this so that she does not miss her court date, because we want people to have their day in court, and we want people to be informed about when this is happening, where she needs to go, and just simple reminders. So then she can opt into whatever cases she wants reminders for. We do let people know, just keep checking CCAP, make sure that everything is up to date, but that is how the text opt-in works. So I did just want to show the other option of what it would look like if Dot was responding to a small claims case where she has to show up in person. So if she's responding to this case here, oh, that's not the right one, maybe it's the second one. Here, okay, so in this case, she has to show up in person. She doesn't have the option of sending something in ahead of time. So we let her know, you have to show up in person. Again, keep your answers short. The creditor might be there, they might not be there. This is your chance to briefly talk to the judge or the commissioner. Here is the address that you need to show up to. Here's the phone number if you need to call the court. A reminder again, if you do not appear, a default judgment will be entered. And here is the information for your court hearing, including your time. Again, we give Dot the reminder to sign up for text results. If I have time, I'm going to quickly just show you guys the child support order. So Dot also has a few child support orders. If she were so inclined, she could go in and try to go to a calculator and see kind of what might change, what her support payment could be, depending on what it is currently and how her financial situation has changed. If she was interested, she could go through, modify the order. We ask a few other questions that we use both for the child support order that's on that form and then also for the fee waiver form. So it's a little more complicated, and there's a bunch of different logic trees that will branch off depending on how she answers all of these questions. So that is the very large overview of what the legal tune-up tool is capable of. We do also have some resources integrated into the legal tune-up tool. We have some for employment and training and the Center for Patient Partnerships Health Justice Clinic. We also do, throughout the whole tool, based on the module, have different like frequently asked questions and information on the legal tune-up tool like that. So let's go back and show the website. So we have a website in addition to the legal tune-up tool. And I would encourage everybody to poke around. We have in the legal tune-up tool tab up here, we have a variety of different topics. And we also have some resource downloads that we've made at Lived Wisconsin here to help folks with specific things. Oops. Let's show one of them is just a flow chart for the small claims module. This is actually based on one that the state of Wisconsin shares and is just on the court website. But the one that the state of Wisconsin shares is full of legalese. It's very complicated. It uses words like replevin, which normal people don't have in their vocabulary. So we have simplified it and we give people a really easy to understand, visually pleasing introduction into the small claims system. So depending on where you're at in your small claims case, you can find where you're at and what your options are based on how you want to proceed. If you did not show up to court, you're probably on this branch. If you're in the process of disputing it, you're probably in this branch. And just giving people information, you have 12 months to file a motion to reopen. You can stipulate to resolve things early. And we also have some legal terms down here for people so that they know kind of what the words are that the court are using. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. So we've had the legal tune-up tool pretty well received by folks who are using it. This is just a testimonial that someone gave us. They were able to use the legal tune-up tool to remove an eviction from their public record. And in doing that, they were able to secure a better apartment for their family, which is closer to their job, their church, their grocery store, and a park. So this person said that the legal tune-up tool was easy to use and it did help them navigate those legal issues, which we are always happy to hear. And I'll pass it over to Alberto to talk about our clinics and partnerships.
All right, thank you, folks. I'm Alberto, and I'll be talking about our legal tune-up tool usage, who's using it, our clinics, and our partnerships as well. If we can hit the next slide, we'll get started on that. So over the last 12 months, there has been 13,000 first-time users accessing the legal tune-up tool, and I think that's phenomenal. In 2022, when I started, the number was just shy of 1,000. So we've exponentially grown by people accessing the legal tune-up tool itself. We had a survey conducted by the University of Wisconsin, and this survey was with 300 folks who have already used the legal tune-up tool. And just looking at these graphics, I want to point out a couple things. One of them is that the child support tool is our most used tool. But we are also learning that people are using the legal tune-up tool to file motions to remove evictions, to answer those small claims, as well as just looking at resources and submitting those inquiries with the Employment and Training Center in Dane County, and also submitting resources and referrals to the Center for Patient Partnerships Clinic. So people are using it. I think it's great. This little chart, the one thing I do want to point out is that of the people surveyed, 2/3 were employed. But this also means that folks who are employed cannot afford an attorney, right? And so just think of it like the access to justice and like people who are hardworking families. The previous slide that said most people are working or living paycheck to paycheck, but still cannot afford a lawyer to access this information or access any help as well. If we can go to the next slide, or actually, yeah, we're here. So the legal tune-up tool, our clinics, none of this would be possible with our partnerships with state agencies. This is the Department of Transportation. This is CSAWS, the Child Support Online Service, WORKS, which is the Wisconsin Online Record System, and CCAP. This is the folks who are housing that data. And so without those partnerships and those contracts, we wouldn't even be able to access that data, right? And so we also, how do we bring awareness? How did 13,000 people access the legal tune-up tool from 1,000 just 2 years ago. It's through presentations with community-based organizations. It's through working with libraries. We strategically target community-based organizations that have client-facing professionals because that's where the trust is, right? And so sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to access like information that's out there. I don't want to put my information out there. This is information that's already out there. So we're kind of giving people that agency where there's someone that they trust and that they're working with to just give them another tool in their toolkit. Let's see. One of the other things is that none of this would also be possible with our volunteer attorneys. We host clinics. Some of these clinics are hosted with Legal Action, the University of Wisconsin, the UW Family Law Clinic, the Dane County Child Support Office, and these are folks that are volunteering their time to help us staff these clinics along with Live Wisconsin staff. If we can hit the next slide. I'm going to talk about our clinics briefly. In the last year, we've had over 200 people served in these clinics, and these clinics are strategically in Dane County and in Racine. And one of the things that we've learned is a lot of people who go to these clinics get a ride from someone, whether that's a neighbor, their brother, their sibling. And while those folks are waiting, we started to give them a free legal health screen, right? That's how we frame it, right? So if two people are waiting, right, then we'll have that second person and we'll be like, hey, would you like a free legal health check? We've learned that a third of those people who do that free legal health check have something actionable. So it's not just working with that person who signed up for that clinic, but it's also the person that is giving them that ride to these clinics. A great other two stats of this. The legal tune-up tool, we know that we've hit at least 50 counties in the state out of the 72. And about 65% of people who attend a clinic for their driver's license reinstatement get their license reinstated. I think that's a great number because it means it's working, right? We're literally giving people a roadmap to get their driver's license back and go to church and take their kids to school and do their everyday errands as well. I think we can go to the next slide. What have we learned? This is a long process. We have learned through focus groups that it is important to have communication between both of us. Because of that trust, there are some people who, like I said, don't trust the systems. Earlier in the slides, 39% of Wisconsinites do not trust the system. And so it's kind of getting to that trust. And I think some of the stuff that some people need help with is that legal literacy stuff and that legal tech and that access. And so I think that's where our legal navigators kind of come in. And I think Jesse can give us that legal navigators portion on how it works and how it ties and bridges the access to justice, legal navigators, and our communities as well.
Thanks, Alberto. Yeah, so this is our newest kind of little project here, these legal navigators. The navigators are designed to be the middle ground between the average Wisconsinite, our community-based organization, and our legal professionals. So we worked really hard to make the legal tune-up tool accessible and easy to understand. We worked really hard on these PDFs, these frequently asked questions, but as we have learned through these really wonderful and helpful focus groups, that it's not enough. That there are a lot of people who still need more assistance. And there are a lot of situations where someone really just does need to be walked through it with an in-person assistance. So we're working with folks in the community-based organizations to find people who have that client interaction and who are, interested in learning more about these legal issues and how to use the legal tune-up tool. So we're hoping that having folks who are both familiar with the legal system but not technically a part of the system can build greater trust in our legal systems, while also increasing that personal empowerment for the folks that they're already helping. We've had some pretty great success so far. Evie, who's hosting this webinar, is one of our pilot legal navigators. She's been wonderful to work with. We recently had another legal navigator, Ace, move on to a state agency, which is really exciting. And we have a growing partnership with Expo to have someone embedded into their organization who's familiar with the legal tune-up tool, but then also knows how to contact us if more support is needed. If there is more detailed driver's license issues that might need to be worked out, they know how to get those resources and who to ask. This next slide here is just a little Venn diagram to show the intersection between justice technology, like the legal tune-up tool, these community-based organizations, and the place that we think community justice workers or these legal navigators can have in solving this access to justice crisis. It's not going to be solved by attorneys alone. We need to be creative, and this is kind of like Lyft's suggestion for how we can solve this problem. So I'll pass it back to Erica.
Great. Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, so I want to just say that obviously, as Jesse just displayed our Venn diagram, this can't be done by one organization or one space. It can't be siloed. It has to be collaborative approach, and that includes partnerships and financial support to do the work. And so these are some of our supporters, and then I would like to highlight supporters like from the Microsoft Justice Grant, and Expo as one of our partners. The American Bar Endowment is supporting our Lyft Library Initiative, which is outreach to libraries across the state of Wisconsin and library systems, where we can provide programming as well as train librarians on the Lyft legal tune-up tool to be legal navigators in their spaces to bridge that rural access to justice. EVU, the Madison Community Foundation, we are working with other community-based organizations to form partnerships because they are the middle space. So thank you to all these folks and many, many others for their support and their championing of this work, including the founders and advisors to Lyft Wisconsin. And so what can you do? We're going to look at next steps and then do some questions and answers, but train on the legal tune-up tool and share with others. Recommend that we give a presentation to others so that we can expand and increase our partnerships. And if you have legal expertise and you want to participate in a clinic or provide support on any of the companion modules, we would absolutely welcome that volunteering in any capacity. And so I just want to, I think to sort of round it out, I think that as a state and as a community that we can, even in these more trying and difficult times, support people and meet them where they're at in order to bridge this gap through innovation, through partnerships, through collaborations, and a new model of providing legal services and resources and information. So, Evie, are there questions in the chat? I think there are some.
Yeah, there were a couple. So the first one is, can individuals come outside of the counties that we have clinics in? Can they attend the clinics?
Well, it depends. I think child support one is very specific to Dane County and Dane County child support. But if they're in Dane County, the Racine driver's license clinics are out of Racine, and they are sort of focused on that area. But if you are in a county where you feel like our a pop-up clinic could be very useful and well attended, we will do one via Zoom, or we will come to you depending on how far that is and how many people. So it's just a capacity issue. But yes, we are happy to give folks support. And I think Jesse said we have, if you email info@wisconsin.org, you can send some specific driver's license questions. And if we partner with a community-based organization, some of that partnering, if you have a legal navigator embedded in your organization, with that, we will provide technical assistance to help you sort of triage that person's issues from a lawyer.
Awesome. I hope you answered. I hope whoever asked that answer successfully answered your question. We're gonna move on to another one. When someone creates an account on Legal TuneUp, is it all confidential?
Yes, yes. I should have mentioned that when we were going through it. It is all confidential. We do not keep anybody's information. It is, I think that we store like the basic cookies for like 48 hours or something like that, but it gets cleared constantly. If somebody creates an account, I think that's not necessarily the best phrase for it, but it's what people are used to saying. It's just using their information, their like first name, their last name, um, and we have a text. We'll send you a text. So you type in your phone number. We'll have a password generated. So we are not saving passwords. We're not saving usernames, and we just yeah. So there's nothing shared. We don't share your information with anybody ever under any circumstance. And it that has been a little complicated to try to like track success because we don't know exactly who's using the legal tune-up tool. We can't follow up with people or track their case on CCAT because we don't store that information. We only know that a certain amount of people got to the end through like Google Analytics, that a certain number of people got to the end of this process or the success you submitted your form page. So it's all confidential. We don't store anybody's information. This is all just publicly available that we're displaying in an easier to understand format.
And to add to that, the Department of Justice, Department of Children and Family, um, and CSAS, those were their concerns as well. Like, how are we going to keep our users safe? And so, from an initial development, our software developers took that into a very high consideration to make sure and ensure that no one's information gets accidentally shared out. So, that was a big thing for them.
Very high priority.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for that answer. And then the next question that we have is, so we have an anonymous attendee, and they teach financial literacy classes at the local county jail. Is there any way to access the fake account that we just used to go through this, the legal tune-up with the participants in their program? How would they go about doing that?
They could we could do a presentation. We could come potentially and actually run participants through it if that's a possibility, and show them how to do it. I don't know about providing the profile, the fake profile, because that gets sort of, it's part of our presentations. And then if more people are using it over and over, it sort of gloms it up on the other end of how seamlessly it's working because it has to run through. But if you want to email one of us, we can talk about potentially coming in and either giving you a one-time opportunity to run people through it or do a presentation as well.
That's a good question, though.
Yep, it's a very good question. Okay, so no other questions. I don't see any others, but it would be great if people took a few minutes to submit a survey because look, the webinar went faster than we had it scheduled for, so that you have an extra few minutes to take the survey. That would be greatly appreciated. We can also put it, cut and paste it into, yeah, will we cut and paste it into the questions and answers there, Evie? Yeah, we'll
Yep,
do.
I'm already on it. And then there was also a welcome poll at the beginning of the webinar. If you didn't have a chance to fill that out already, I'm gonna relaunch it. And then you can answer that if you haven't already answered it about just a few questions about yourself.
Yeah, and can we share that information or that result of the poll or um,
I can share. I can share this tab. So this is when we asked at the beginning, kind of like what you thought was the biggest. You zoom in, so we're not sharing people's emails and stuff. What everybody is perceived biggest barrier for legal aid.
Mhm.
This is what people shared. We have lack of legal resources, access, cost, availability, affordability, fear, transportation, knowledge, attorneys, navigating court, a whole bunch of things. So this is the little word cloud that we were given by your answers. And yeah, I think that all seems, in my perspective, that all seems pretty accurate. Thank you all for responding.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have any other questions or you want to get in touch with us, feel free to email us at info@liftwisconsin and then follow us on social media. We will share this webinar again, I think, because we recorded it, and so people will get a copy. And thank you all so much for being part of the solution and being interested in this issue. We need more people talking about it because it's one of the critical pieces in helping folks achieve economic stability and family well-being. So thank you all.